out that I'm going. I went live while we're on the phone. I'm so sorry.
I hate you. Embarrassing.
No, it just went live this second. No, it just went live this very second. But I was like, don't talk anymore. So I went live. I shouldn't have. I was on the phone still. I'm sorry to my friend that I'm kicking off the phone.
I'm on the live now.
All right. I'm gonna let you go because that was like a private combo that I don't think we should continue on live. But
Putting that on the live stream.
But yeah, I'll talk to you after. Bye.
I'll see the stream. Bye.
Okay. Okay, so welcome back to my live sewing videos. I feel like it's been a while. I guess it hasn't been that long. I made the onesie like last week or something. Welcome, Mora, who was obviously just on the phone, if you caught that. So today I wanted to come back to something that I started 60 days ago on this channel when I started my 60-day channel or 60-day challenge of posting every single day. And yes, it's really been a long time. So anyways, yeah, I started this shirt 60 days ago when I made the challenge to myself because Mora Mitchell, who's on the stream right now, had challenged herself to post every day for 60 days. And so I figured I would just give it a try because I've always wanted to try to be consistent on YouTube. And I made it to 57 days and I kind of flopped because I didn't post 58 or 59. I did an update yesterday, but I don't really count that. So I made it to 57. I'm going to continue doing live streams as consistently as possible. So I'm going to try to post. I don't want to say I'm going to post. Thank you. I didn't. What is it called? Why can't I talk? It's so late, I guess. I don't want to stop posting, but I also don't want to like make myself feel overwhelmed by making too big of a commitment. So I'm going to like go by a month-to-month basis of like how consistently I want to post on YouTube, but I'm going to try to go at least 30 more days of posting every single day. So we'll see how far I get. But yeah, so today I'm going to go back to this. But I call it my Felicity Blouse. It's a certain pattern that I made. I draped the pattern and then made it in paper and then upcycled a silk blouse and a knit crew neck into this version of the Felicity Blouse, adding this ruffle collar that I got from the front of the silk blouse. And I never finished it. Like I keep saying, I started it on day one of the challenge. It was the first sew with me I ever did. I think I did a couple sew with me's working on it. And the only things that I have left on it are these corners. And I noticed when I was photographing it for the thumbnail that there's a tiny little hole in the armhole. So I'm going to stitch that up really quick first. And then we're going to try to finish this so I can get it off my to-do list. That's something I really want to make a priority this month, is just knocking off everything that I already started sewing and have not finished, so that, you know, I feel lighter. When you have a lot of projects that you started but not finished, it just weighs on you over time. So let's see if we can knock this one out today. I don't know if there's going to be any challenging elements of it. I really hope not. I hope it just kind of comes together very quickly, but we will see. And while I'm doing it, I did just want to kind of talk about the process of posting the last 60 days and how I feel it went and what I feel like I could do differently to make it easier for me in the future, since I do plan on continuing to post. So I am just rethreading my machine because it was green and I want it to be more similar to the fabric color. And I am going to be using woolly nylon in the bobbin. If you ever watch my live streams, I feel like I never do a live stream without using woolly nylon. It's my absolute favorite thing on the planet as far as thread is concerned. I feel like I just messed it up though. I don't know, it's good. And if you have ever seen one of my live streams, it's so frustrating when I don't have a bobbin that's threaded with this stuff because it takes a while to thread it, but I do have a bobbin. So this should be very quick and easy to do. Let me just get this threaded and sew up that little hole. And then I can figure out what I have left to do as far as the rest of the blouse is concerned. But it's, for the most part, it's 99% done. And most of the process that takes a lot of time is already done. All of the hems are already sewn beautifully and they're completely seamless. You cannot see any of the stitching. I did that all throughout on the neckline. On the arm hem, I did the same thing. On the hemline on the silk part, I did the same thing. So the whole thing is pretty much, you can't see any stitches, and I did all French seams all throughout the bodice. So it did take a while to get it to this point. It definitely didn't take 60 days. It took me probably like 5 days. And maybe like a total of maybe 10 hours at most of work, probably a lot less, probably like 5 hours of work. But then I just I felt like there was something slightly off about it and it was frustrating me. And it has to do with the collar. And I knew I was being like a bit risky with the collar because I've said this a million times because, like I said, I've done this on live streams before, but the collar is a bit heavy, so it's not like falling the way I want it to. And when it's on, I've tried it on for people, I've tried it on for myself, and when it's on, it is really beautiful. There's just some slight adjustments I'd like to make, but honestly, for this garment, it's good enough. People really like it, and I don't think I should spend any more time on it. I should just finish up the shoulders, call it a day. I already have people that would enjoy wearing it, so why am I spending more time on it? But when I make my next Felicity blouse, because this is a silhouette that I want to continue to make, I want to make a lot of upcycled blouses in this shape, which is like kind of like a really flirty, loose crop top. I want to make a couple adjustments because I think it might be a little bit too flowy in the front. And the collar I want to change slightly on all of the blouses depending on what they are inspired by and what the garments I'm upcycling are. But I think I would be a little bit more careful about like the fact that this color is so heavy and then the blouse underneath is so lightweight because I just don't like how it falls and pulls. But that's just a little side note. Let me finish getting this threaded. And let me just go ahead and, like I said, sew up this seam that I had a little hole in. I don't know if I just missed this area for some weird reason or if it pulled out, if the stitch pulled out. If it pulled out, I honestly don't know why it would because this woolly nylon usually holds in really well. But either way, I'm just going to stitch it up. It's really easy. And I need a little pair of scissors. Okay, so now there is no hole in the arm, which you could see in my thumbnail. So that's perfect. And then now I just have to look at what I didn't finish yet in the shoulders. What is the issue? One of the problems with like waiting to do a project for such a long period of time is you have all these ideas in your head about how you're going to fix it, and then you kind of forget. So it's not really a great idea to delay project. But I don't really know why you would think it is a good idea, honestly. Okay, so sometimes the problem with constructing things so well is that to deconstruct them is going to be so frustrating. So since all of my seams are French, if I want to take out this, I need to take out the neckline right here, because if you look at this side, I pinched it in about like maybe a quarter of an inch. I just want to take out this much. And that means it's probably going to end up being a 1/2 inch on both sides since it's pinched about a quarter. But anyways, that means I have to take out from the seam right here and a little bit after until here. And that's a French seam, so I have to take out 2 stitches here, and then I'm going to have to take out about an inch of the seaming right here, which is also 2 stitches. So not on a situation right here, but I'm going to do it because I would rather do it right than be more frustrated later. So let's go ahead and take it out and see how we're going to fix this. And this is something I should definitely keep track of when I go to make my next Felicity Blouse, which is, again, what I call this shape. Because if I'm making adjustments to the pattern now, I should make note of that on the paper pattern so that I don't have the same mistake happen next time. It's not really a mistake. Like I made, this is my first time making this sample. So sometimes you want to make adjustments, and sometimes this is based on the materials that you're using. So we took out the first seam. Now we're taking out the second seam. Now, while I take this out, this is probably the perfect opportunity to talk about the 60-day challenge and what I feel like went well, what I feel like I need to do different, really positive. I think something that I definitely struggled with was using my time wisely and of like, you know, being proactive about doing as much as I could as early as I could. I feel like I procrastinated way too much where it caused so much stress on me that I began to feel depressed because of the stress of having to post every single day, because I felt like I was at probably like maybe like the 40s in like the day 40 to like 50. No, I feel like maybe like 35 to like 45. I feel like that was probably, I'm totally guessing right here, but I really think it was like a little past halfway, that I was feeling really stressed, like that I had no good ideas and I was feeling super depressed because of the stress of it. And I just felt like it wasn't even having no good ideas. It was just like not being able to put the content out there because I was unprepared for how long it takes me to edit a vlog, or how much energy you need to be able to consistently do live streams, or how long, like I started getting in my head about the fact that it takes me so long to sew things that it's boring. Like I do too many live streams on the same item of clothing. So then I just stopped posting live streams for a while, probably for like 10 days or something, maybe even longer. But yeah, I was just like, just getting in my head too much, when the point of this was not to really, it wasn't to entertain people with my live streams. It was more selfish. It was to, hold myself accountable. And I thought if I film myself sewing, then it will give me another reason to sew, which will therefore mean that I will hopefully end up sewing more often, because I just felt like I was, for the longest period, never going to my sewing machine, never turning it on, and never making anything that I really wanted to make. And I just wanted like a forced kind of excuse to turn it on, because I tended to just prioritize everything else over that one thing. But then, as you kind of get into it and you start doing the live streams and start enjoying them, you start to worry about, is this interesting? Like if I don't have that much to say, or if I am just, actually struggling through the process of creating something from scratch, is it just too boring? Which it shouldn't even matter if it's boring, honestly, because at least as far as the live streams go, they're supposed to be personal for me. And I feel like I needed to be reminded of that. Yeah, so I feel like going into next month, I want to put less pressure on myself as far as the live streams are concerned, and just sew what I want to sew, and just knock off these things that I've already started, and continue to do projects that inspire me. And if other people have requests, and I can sprinkle those in there as well, that's amazing. But I think like just having that habit of sewing as frequently as possible is what I should really focus my time on. But I think aside from that, with the live streams, the biggest thing I was lacking with the 60-day challenge, which I did do on a whim, I did not really prepare for it at all. was the planning process. And I feel like going into next month, I've already made out for the next few months a calendar of what my videos are. And of course, this is a loosely planned calendar because, you know, it can change based on where I am, like on specific days. But at least I have a general idea of, you know, which videos are supposed to be coming out each week so that I don't have to, that's one thing I don't have to spend time on, like thinking about what video am I going to do today. And then on top of that, I can start to pre-plan out, you know, when should these videos be done so that, you know, when I am traveling, I don't have to be stressed all the time. Like, oh, I have to get to my hotel. I have to post a video now. I would like to have, you know, days where my video is, you know, scheduled and stuff like that. So doing the planning ahead of time is what I want to figure out going into this next 30 days. And I think it's going to be a huge challenge for me because I'm a planner in certain elements of my life. Like on a project by project basis, I'm a planner. Like when I can plan out, you know, how to accomplish the task needed to finish a specific thing. But can I plan out, you know, all of these videos and make sure, like, prioritize getting them done days ahead of time? That's something that I've never, you know, been forced to do. And even in other elements of my life where, for example, I have a joint channel that I've talked about on here where we have a podcast and we do struggle, or I'll take full responsibility, mainly me, struggle to get the podcast out on time. And that's for the same sort of reason that, you know, I just am such a procrastinator and it's so hard for me to just get things done when I tell myself they need to be done. It's like if I'm doing it for someone else, and this is something I have, you know, went back to many, many times. When I'm doing it for someone else, it's done. Like whenever it needs to be done by, it will be done by that date. You know, it might be 5 minutes late at max, but it will be done by that date. But then when it comes for me, it's like, I just don't do it at all. Like I just put myself in the worst predicaments. I don't respect myself for whatever reason. And that is my challenge this month is, you know, respecting myself enough to prioritize things, create a calendar, work with people, delegate, find a way to make things, you know, kind of happen. I don't plan on working for the rest of, thank you. I didn't probably think of it completely on my own. I definitely have, you know, been talking to people and trying to get advice. You know, definitely I feel like this has been such a huge, like, growing opportunity over the past 60 days. Like not only doing the 60-day challenge, but also just like, I think it helped that I wasn't doing it alone. Like Mora, my one viewer, she was doing it too. And so we were always able to like bounce ideas off each other and like figure out, you know, what may make it easier. She's all about planning. And so obviously seeing how much easier her process seemed to be, like not easier because obviously it was still a struggle for her to post for 60 days. Like that's a huge thing. Like neither of us were posting like right before we started posting for 60 days straight. She had posted a little bit prior. I don't remember exactly when you posted, but she had posted like last year, I think, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she had been posting, but she hadn't posted recently. So the challenge was just as big for her. But she had a plan. She had many videos pre-recorded, pre-edited. And then when she got to the point where she like wasn't ahead of herself, 2018. Okay, so almost 2 years ago. So is when Mora had posted last. But yeah, like she explained to me like once she started to like be on a more day-to-day basis, she also was feeling the pressure and had to like get back on track and like start, pre-editing and all of that. So I feel like it will change the game. I just need to figure out how to make it work. I want to like do a lot of it by myself and not like delegate my personal channel at this moment because it is very personal, and also I'm not working, so I should probably like figure out how to do stuff on my own. Also, I'm just rambling as I do this, as I try to focus. So I apologize for that. This is probably really weird to watch because I'm so rambly right now. There's like a snag in this knit, and it's very frustrating to me. Okay, so when you see a snag in your knit, definitely don't just cut it. I'm so tempted to, but you need to like work it out with your fingernails and then knot it off so it doesn't like create a hole. But yeah, so what I was saying is I am going to cut the threads, like the loop in half so that I can just knot it off. But what I was saying about pre-planning and all of that, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for me to figure out how to pre-plan my videos, how long I need to edit my videos, how many days in advance I need to start editing things like a vlog that take a bit longer to edit. Because like I said, I'm not really working that much. I'm not working for the rest of May, and I don't know when I'm going to start work in June. So why not take advantage of this time for once? Not that I feel like I haven't taken any advantage. I feel like I haven't taken any advantage at all. Or, sorry, what I'm trying to say. Why am I not able to talk right now? This is a horrible live. But what is it called? I feel like I haven't been taking advantage of the time that I've been home more, is what I'm trying to say. Like, that's what I struggle with every day. Like, oh, you're not doing anything. But then when I think about it further and I like actually like take a moment, me and Mora just posted 60 days in a row on YouTube, and we hadn't been posting at all prior. And that is not nothing. Also, we do a joint YouTube channel on Walking Produce. We have a podcast, and I'm doing other things that I can't even, that are still in the works that I can't talk about at the moment. And I just need to give myself some credit, I feel like, because I feel like the stress of feeling like you're failing and like nothing is ever like going in the right direction is so negative and is just the worst for, creating the lifestyle that you're hoping for and like building, the foundation for all the projects that you hope to bring to reality. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I need to focus a little bit on this blouse so that I don't mess it up. Bottom line, I feel like I learned so much. Okay, so we are getting there. This one is like fully taken out. I don't know why it's still pinned. It doesn't need to be pinned. But this one's fully taken out right here. So we're going to redo that shoulder, but we're trying to do this one first. I had to close up a little tiny snag that we got in this. My intention is figuring out a calendar and like a calendar system that makes like looking ahead at like what my video ideas are and when and like how I have to plan to edit them and all of that, like a system, so that I can kind of look ahead like every single day. Okay, these are the videos that I'm doing next week. This is what I have to do in order to make sure they're done next week. I have to create that system and kind of implement it. That is my goal for next month. And I will feel like I have like got that down and like it's working if more of my videos come out before midnight than they did over the past 60 days, because that was definitely one thing that I struggled with and that I don't think Mora struggled with at all. Not that it never happened to her, but like to my 10, it happened to her like once of posting videos past midnight. I very much struggled to get them out before midnight, which I want to be better at. Well, I already created a plan for, or like an outline for every video I'm going to post over the next, I believe 3 or 4 months. I don't remember. My hand doesn't know the difference between 3 or 4. But I don't, what am I trying to say? I don't know why I'm so tired. Like, what did I do today? This is so weird. But what is it called? I wrote out like Monday or Sunday through Saturday every single week for the next, let's say 3 months. And I then put the video that I'm going to post on those days for the next 3 months. So now I have to take that outline and transfer that onto like a Google Calendar, which is what I'm thinking. And then, good. I'm glad it's not just me. But yeah, so if you have any better ideas, I would love to hear them. I'm thinking I definitely want to use Google Calendar just because then I can like block schedule. I think I'm going to have like a calendar that just says my video ideas, like what video is coming out every single day. And then I'm going to have a separate calendar that blocks out work time. So it's like, you know, from, let's just say the first 3 hours of the day, I'm going to be editing. And then, you know, it will say if that day I have to do a live, what time I plan on doing that live. And I think I'll probably go in like once a week, like let's say Sunday nights. And I want to like double check the weekly calendar that it still makes sense along with my work schedule, since I do travel for a living. But does that make sense? Like, does that seem like it might work? I've never really attempted seriously in any serious way of doing a block schedule, but I think it will work. Okay, thank you. So yeah, I feel like though it's gonna take a good amount of time to actually get that done. So I'll probably have to like plan out a couple hours tomorrow to figure that out. When Mora's saying it sounds good in the comments, I'm like, all right, good. I'm on track. Since I feel like she was way better at this over the last 60 days. Which, by the way, if you are not subscribed to Mora, go over and please subscribe to her. She makes amazing content. She did post over the last 60 days. So she has tons of videos for you to watch. They're not long at all. The majority of them are rather short, but they're really beautiful. And just binge them, honestly. Binge them and then wait, because every single week she is going to be posting a new video at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. And I highly recommend you go check them out, because they're just going to be, it's going to be a lot of great content. She puts a lot of effort into her videos, which is why I'm really actually happy that she's not going to continue posting every single day, just because she perfects her content. Whereas like no matter how much time I put between each video, I'm probably going to spend the same amount of time on it. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. But for her, like she needs that extra time because she's making something really visually beautiful. So it's definitely worth checking out her videos because she has all different sorts of content on there. And it's all really great. So that's my little plug. Also, I'm just feeling like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this blouse tonight. It's such a, what is wrong with me? Like, what is my thing where like I cannot finish a project? Like, I'm so afraid of it being over because I feel like it comes from the fact that like, if it's over, then like you fail. You could have failed. Like there's the chance you could have failed, but if you never finish, then you never fail. And if you never finish, then maybe it's like you never fail. Like, so what's the point of, you know, trying to put in the effort and finishing a project if you might like ruin it? That's what I'm guessing it means when I absolutely never finish anything. That's not true. I don't finish nothing. But as far as these like projects go, I feel like I have more sewing projects up in the air than I have completely finished. And it's so frustrating. And like, I'm so close. I only say this because I'm literally so close to the end of this project. Like I literally just have to, I don't even know why I'm using scissors to do this. Don't use mini scissors to take out a seam. It's much nicer if you use a seam ripper. You're less likely to accidentally cut into the fabric. But I'm only saying this because I really feel like I don't want to finish this right now. I'm like, why? You're so close. Just do it. Okay, cool. So now I am done with taking that stitch out. I have one last stitch to get out. And what I'm doing, like taking in the back a little bit, I believe the aim of this was to help make the back a little bit more fitted right up here. And in doing so, I felt like it was pulling the collar in a little bit, which is good because I felt like, you know, that was the bit I didn't like. I didn't like how the collar was like pulling so much away from the garment. So let's see if this actually works. You do want to like make sure you don't have a million, just threw that on the ground. Make sure you don't have a million threads everywhere because you don't want to start sewing over chunks of thread. It will just create a knotty, bulky environment. All right, so let's check it out. Now that I have this all trimmed up, it should be a pretty quick process. So let's hope for the best here. All right. Also, because I just almost made this mistake, make sure you remember you're doing a French seam. So make sure you're sewing on the correct side of the garment for the first time because you have to sew every seam twice. Also, when you do the first seam, only take it in half as much as you actually want to take it in because you are going to have to sew it, like I said, twice because you're doing a French seam. Or if you're doing a French seam, or if sewing things twice does not appeal to you, never do a French seam. That's completely fine. I'm just talking about how I specifically sewed this. All right, so I'm just trimming it so that I can flip it around and sew it one more time, the same seam, cutting off all the threads. And this is all looking perfect. And again, just trim away the threads because you did make an alteration. There's a lot of things hanging all over the place. So just double check all of that. And again, just trim off the extra threads. Double check how the seam looks on the outside. Yay, it looks really nice. And then we are going to trim the top, like whatever's hanging above the top seam. Sometimes when you pull in a seam, it's kind of, what's the word? Where did I sew this? I literally am like, how did I sew this? Jeez, this is complicated. And then flip it over. I'm just matching up the seams right now. And don't follow the exact same seam allowance that you were following the whole time, because at least just be aware, because it depends what adjustments you're making, what your seam allowance will be. But just remember that your seam allowance has changed somewhat because you trimmed the inner seam. So that seam allowance is different now. So make sure you smoothly just do your seam allowance from where your last, like your seam, where that you stopped taking out, where you stopped taking the seam out, transition from that place, which I just need to open up the stitch a little bit more, but to be able to see where I last was seam was, to make sure I give the same seam allowance. Alrighty. Okay, don't put your pins on top of your scissors because they're magnetic and it's super frustrating. All right. Again, trim your stitches. If you have any bulky bits of fabric or fabric that's hanging too long at this point, you are going to have to trim it a little bit so that you can close off the seam. But don't trim it too short because you still need some bit of seam allowance in there. And then you're going to fold over the seam. trimming off all the threads. And now because we made adjustments to the shoulder, I'm going to have to move this last piece right here over a little bit because there's obviously too much fabric right here where this seam is meeting this shoulder's edge because we eliminated the fabric over here. So if you're getting rid of this, you are going to have to get rid of this because these two pieces connect. So this becomes a whole thing, and this is why you really want to work this out before you jump into fabric. But we kind of just did this project on a whim. We quickly did a muslin draft and then just went for it. So sometimes these types of adjustments have to be made. Just track them, keep note of them so that the next time you make this pattern, you can make these adjustments. Or like use this pattern, not make it. You already have it. So just make adjustments before you use it again. And to be clear, like this was not 100% necessary. This was a wearable blouse. Like it wasn't awful. I just want this blouse to be perfect because I want to make more of them and I just want it to sit exactly how I imagine it sitting in my head. So for me, it was worth it to spend the extra couple hours making a couple really minor adjustments to have it fit exactly the way that I intended it to fit. So just to be clear. And also, again, it's just taking so long because all my seams are sewed twice. So it's a bit extra. But this is honestly kind of good to see and just, really experience the chain reaction of, okay, I want to take it in this tiny bit right here. This is all of the things that it's going to affect. Because I have people ask me all the time, can you, alter this or alter that? And there's a way to do a really quick alteration that when you look inside the garment, it's going to be very visible that you made that adjustment. And there's a way to properly do it where, you open up all the seams and you move everything around so that when you have that chain reaction occur, everything is perfectly adjusted with it. And I'm such a perfectionist that I don't like tailoring at all because it feels very wrong to do the quick fix where when you open the garment, it looks half-assed. But then to do the long way of opening up every single seam allowance and altering each one of them as each one gets affected by that small move is so much work. It's so overwhelming to me. And, someone who does enjoy that may think I sound crazy, but that's my personal opinion. So please don't ask me to tailor anything. And basically all I'm doing so that it doesn't continue to affect the, have more chain reactions, because, if I continue to push this fabric, it's going to push into the seam, and then it's going to, cause that to be off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just spread out the extra fabric, which is a very minor amount, onto the knit, because the knit is stretchy. We can just, move, have it stretched out a little bit, and then we can easily, have the silk attach in a way that is not clumping in the corner. And so now when I attach that, it's going to be nice and smooth, and it's going to be great. And we're not going to have it, continue to bulk up anywhere else in the garment. And now, hopefully, we then can just, I think I want to stitch this closed a tiny bit. Actually, we're going to add snaps. I forgot about that. We're going to add snaps instead of stitching it closed, so that you can open it and get it on easily and all of that. Or maybe a button, but I think snaps. And yeah, and then it's done, but I still have this side to do. This actually took me an hour because it takes so long to take stitches out. So frustrating. But I'm going to actually let you go because it's pretty late. I can't see the time, which is why I keep looking over my computer to see the time. It's 11:30. So it's pretty long stream for just doing a simple hole edit in the shoulder and altering the shoulders a tiny bit. But as you can see, the more stitches you put into a garment, the longer it takes. I'm sorry, I'm so boring. I'm making Mora fall asleep. But I'm going to let you guys go, get some rest. I'm going to get some rest so that I can actually wake up on time tomorrow. And I think I'm going to continue this on a Twitch stream. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, probably, maybe. And then, yeah, we can finally put this thing to rest and be done with it. I'm just a sleepy person right now. Amazing. Clearly I am too. Yeah, it is almost midnight. So anyways, but I'm going to let you guys go. Wow. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much. Subscribe if for some reason you haven't already. And if you do enjoy my live streams for whatever reason, please hit the bell notification, because that is the only way you're going to know that I'm going live, because I'm a very unpredictable, inconsistent person. But I am posting a video every single day for the foreseeable future. So hit that bell and you will see when I'm live. I will see you again next time. Oh, wait, what did Mora say? But can't wait to see the rest of the blouse without any non-purposeful holes. Thank you so much, Mora. All right, bye, guys. And go ahead and check out Mora Mitchell's channel. Again, she is posting every Wednesday at 8 p.m. for now on, and she just finished her 60-day challenge, so there's plenty of content for you guys to binge. All right, bye, guys.